Okay, so we're now looking at Jan 2020 International A-Level Decision 1 paper. This is question number 2, and we have part A asking us some definitions. So we want to know what a tree is and what a minimum spanning tree is. So if you've forgotten what a tree was, it's basically a part of a connected graph, something like this. And we make sure that this has no cycles whatsoever. So if we take something like this, and maybe this too, then we have a tree right over here, because none of these are connected. So none of these form a cycle. So as long as they're part of a graph and they do not form a they do not form a cycle, then that is a tree. So the definition here is going to be a connected graph that forms no cycles. And part B asks us to find what a minimum spanning tree is. So a minimum spanning tree is basically the same thing as a tree, but it contains all vertices possible that have the total length of its arcs the smallest as possible, so like the least possible values. So let's just define this again. A MST is a tree that contains all vertices. So this is one mark, and now we need to actually tell what the purpose of an MST is, or what the MST does. So the total length of its arcs is as small as possible, because when we're taking a minimum spanning tree, we take in the least values for each arc. So here it contains the smallest possible arcs, or lengths actually I should say, for its arcs. And this is it for part 2 from question A. So now question B says use crisscross, I don't know how to pronounce it, to find the minimum spanning tree for the network shown in figure 1. You must clearly show the order in which you consider the edges for each edge. State whether you are including it in the minimum spanning tree or not. So let's go back to the graph and let me delete this. So the way that we're actually going to do this is we're going to start by taking the smallest values and the smallest values for this network. What you can essentially do is you can label every single you can label every single edge, such as like A, B, A, D, and then just order them based on their lengths. Or you can just right away from the graph start selecting from the least values without having to label every single arc, and then stating whether you're going to reject it or accept it. So you can just right away pick whatever arc you're going to use. Pick the smallest arc, and then you're going to state whether you're going to accept it or you're going to reject it. So from here, let me pick the highlighter. You can use a highlighter on the question booklet, not the answer booklet, because after all, the question booklet is not going to get scanned. So you can maybe use a highlighter or some colored pencils. I'd recommend using colored pencils because you can erase them. So let's just start. We got FJ, which is the smallest one in here. Let me write that. We got FJ, and then we got. Let me just write that somewhere. Hold on. Actually, I'll just write it here. Whatever. So we got FJ. Then we got the second smallest one is EG right over here. So you can accept that as well. EG. And then it asks us to find we need to find the third one. So the third smallest should be this 15 over here. So we're going to accept it. And then we got the second smallest over here, which would be this 17. Oh, that's the eraser, I'm sorry. The 17 over here. So this one's going to get accepted. EH. And then we got the next smallest one, which should be GH. But GH is actually going to be rejected because if we look over here, this forms a cycle. EG, there's a cycle between EG, GH, and HE. So we cannot accept H, so we need to state that we rejected H. So we can just say HE and write across maybe next to it, or we can say reject. I'm just going to write reject. Just draw a tick next to these to show that I've accepted them. You can draw these on one line, you can write them on one line, but it's up to you basically. So we stopped at HE, then we need to pick the second smallest, which is going to be BC over here. Oops, let me go back here. BC. So we're going to accept BC. Let me bring this up again. Let me just put them here. Okay, so we're going to accept BC. Then we want to find the next smallest one, which is going to be this HJ over here. And we are going to reject this one because it also forms a cycle between E, F, J, H, and E again. So we cannot accept this one, so we're going to reject it. So I accidentally move these. So BC is accepted and HJ is rejected. And then we got to look at the next smallest one, which is going to be this. We stopped at AJ, then 20, so we want to find something that's bigger than a 20, which is this 22, I think. So we're going to accept BD. It does not form a cycle. And then we want to look again. What's greater than 22 over here? We got the... What's greater? We got... Which ones do we have here? Oh, we got FH over here, which is 23. So this is going to get rejected as well because it forms a cycle with EHF, forms a triangle. So this is kind of rejected. So HF, reject. Now we go to the next one, which is going to be, I think, AE at 25. So this does not form a cycle, so we can accept AE. AE, accepted. Then we can look at the next one we have, which is going to be what's greater than 24. 25. We have, I think there's 29 over here. But this BE is actually going to be accepted. Some people might think that it's going to be rejected because it kind of forms a cycle over here. But this actually is not a cycle because the intersection point over here is not a node. It's not a vertex. So this is not really a cycle. So BE is going to get accepted. And now we can continue. Greater than 29. We got 30. We got two 30s actually. We got this one over here. But this one is actually going to be rejected. Let me draw in a different color. This one is going to be rejected because it does form a cycle between BDE. So this one is rejected. BD reject. We'll write that down. Now for the next part, we got AD, same thing. AD is going to be rejected as well because it forms a cycle. Then what's greater than 30? I think that's left now is 32 up there. And this 32, and both of them are going to be rejected. So AB, was it AB? Yeah, it was AB. Reject. And ADG. AD and we already rejected AD, right? I didn't? Oh, that's crazy. One sec. Okay, I can bring these down. Make them a little bit smaller. Okay, so AB, reject. There was a DG. reject, and AD reject. So now we've rejected the ones and we've accepted. So we can just say that you can write this on one line, but I'm just going to rewrite it again to make things a little bit more clean for the examiner. So this is going to be FG, EG, EF, EH. Wait, what? How do I have HE? And I did something wrong here, I'm sorry. EH is accepted, but HE is rejected, huh? I think I was supposed to reject something else. Well, for now, just forget about this. Kind of made a silly mistake over here. We'll figure it out in a bit. EH, BC, AJ is rejected, BD, and then we got AE, BE, and that's it. So wait, which one was it that I rejected over here? E. I think it was HF that I did not right. Yeah, this was supposed to be HF. I'm sorry. Oops, that's too big. It's a little bit smaller. This is supposed to be HF. I was supposed to reject. Okay, there we go. So now we got the rejected ones and the accepted ones. I took a little bit more time because I was trying to explain this, so it can be done way faster than this. You just need to write them down. You can write them down in one line instead of doing this, because this is a little bit more time consuming, but I was just trying to show how it's done. So let's go to the next part of the question over here. It says, draw the minimum spanning tree using the vertices given in diagram 1 in the answer book and state state the weight of the minimum of the MST. So basically, I'm just going to look over what I've highlighted and I'm going to just copy it down there. So it's going to be, all right, kind of got it. This is going to go with this. B is going to here. This is going to go here. This is going to go here. Try to make your lines clean. You don't have to use a ruler, just keep them clean. And then I think this one's here. 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 AB was rejected. What else do we have? Oh wait, DE is rejected, I'm sorry. We had DB, AF, DB, and yeah, that's it. One more final check. Yeah, I got it right, okay. So this is the minimum spanning tree, and now we're just gonna add the weights again. So I'm gonna go up here. I'm gonna write down the weights here. This one was, okay, so now that we've drawn the graph, I'm gonna write down the weights over here. So this one was an 11. This one was, EF was I think 15. EG, what was it? EG I think was 13. This one was 17. This one was 29. This one was 19. DB, how much was DB? I don't remember. 22 and 25. So this is 22 and this is 25. So if we add everything together, we're going to get a total of 25. Let me add this on the calculator. 11 plus 15 plus 17 plus 13 plus 29 plus 19 plus 22 plus 25. We're going to get 151. So that's the weight of the MST we got. 151. And this is it for question number 2, part B, ABC. Nothing was hard about it. The kind of took a little bit long time as I was trying to explain crystals, I don't know how to pronounce it. So pretty simple. You can use a highlighter on the question paper. It really does make a difference. So if you can use that, then definitely go for it. And this marks the end for question number 2. Now we can go to question number 3.